For months, maybe even a full year, I've come out here and spoke as Roman Reigns, and I said a lot of things. I said that I'd be here every single week. I said I'd be a fighting champion. I said I was going to be consistent, and I said I was going to be a workhorse, but that's all lies. It's a lie because the reality is my real name is Joe, and I've been living with leukemia for 11 years. And unfortunately, it's back. And because the leukemia is back, I cannot fulfill my role. I can't be that fighting champion. And I'm gonna have to relinquish the Universal Championship.
Coming off the heels of an emotional Monday Night Raw, you're listening to the Wrestling Radar podcast here on Ram Nation Radio. I'm your host, as always, Ryan Moderano. That's Nick Moderano. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing good, despite the heartbreaking news that we found out Monday night about Roman Reigns. Like I said, the show goes on.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate news to start off with. This is definitely not what I pictured talking about this week or starting off with on the show, but unfortunately it's what we have to talk about. The unfortunate news of Roman Reigns diagnosed with leukemia. Apparently he's been dealing with it for the past 11 years, went into remission very quickly back in 2008. He's had it ever since he was 22 years old, and that's when he got diagnosed with it. Nobody knew that this was the case beforehand. A huge, huge shock to everybody around the wrestling world, everybody watching. Nobody expected to hear this as soon as Raw went on the air. Very weird because earlier on in the day there was a report that came out that Roman was injured and, Crown Jewel was in jeopardy because of it. But obviously not injured. Obviously he has this problem now. Had to relinquish the Universal Championship, taking a hiatus. Who knows how long, but just very, very heartbreaking news to start off Raw.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, he's been dealing with it for a while. But Roman's a very healthy guy, strong guy. So hopefully that'll help him in his upcoming fight.
Yeah, let's hope so. Because if there's any fight that everybody wants him to win, it's this one, no doubt. And our heart and our prayers and our thoughts go out to Roman Reigns and his family. My heart just breaks for his kids too, his daughter, his wife. It's really, really upsetting. And it just, again, the crazy part is nobody knew that he had this problem. Like, it didn't even leak. Like, nobody even knew, he had it, a couple of years ago.
No one.
So a huge shock.
And you can even tell, too, in that video that WWE released of Roman backstage, hugging everybody, and you can tell that some of these people, just by the way they were talking to him and, the expressions on their face, that maybe they didn't even know. Maybe that's not something that he talked about. Maybe that was, a part of his past that he kind of tucked away, and, now I guess it's come back.
Yeah, it really just crushed me, man, hearing about this. And, I'm not the biggest Roman Reigns fan, but I was never one of those haters, some people take it, way too far, and they can't stand him and all this stuff, but yeah, despite him not being my favorite, I never hated him as much as some people do. And I still don't hate him. I never did.
And I don't think it's a matter of, people that say, oh, I don't hate Roman, but, good for him. It's not a matter of hating the character, Roman Reigns, because, at some point we got to realize that these are real people and this is a real fight, that real battle he's about to, take on. So, whatever he's done in the wrestling ring, whatever anybody has said about him in the wrestling ring doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
Because now this is just, like you said, this is Joe, I can't even pronounce his last name, but it's Joe fighting this battle, not Roman.
Exactly. So, the outpouring of love and support for him, the amount of tweets that I've seen from everybody around the wrestling world. Obviously those that don't cheer his character too, obviously have to show support for this. This is a real life situation. It's as real as it gets. But totally shocking, and I was in class when it actually happened, so I wasn't even watching live, and, I got the text from you and my buddy Jason, and just crazy, I just could not believe what I was reading was actually true, and, it was really, really hard to focus on the rest of Raw after that happened.
Yeah, you're never really prepared. We've gone through this many times now when Edge came out and announced his retirement that, shocked everybody. Same thing with Daniel Bryan. Same thing with, Jeff Hardy back in the day when he left. These things just happen where injuries happen, and you just don't expect them to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, it's really, really heartbreaking stuff, and who knows when he's going to come back at this rate. I mean, let's hope he does.
I mean, let's hope that he does come back from this.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, wrestling should not be the next thing on people's minds. It should just be him spending time with his family, trying to work this out and get through it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was reading something. I looked up, the recovery time, like the treatment time, and how long it takes, and it's set up to 2 to 3 years. I mean, that's crazy if that's the case. But like I said, there's really no timetable. Let's just hope Roman fights this and beats it once again, because cancer messed with the wrong guy, man. The big dog has got this. I really have faith. He has faith too, and the fact that he went out there to start Raw and did what he did and told the whole world, it takes a lot of bravery and courage there too. And then Seth and Dean coming out, and I think that's what killed a lot of people too, is seeing Seth Rollins very, very emotional. Nobody's ever seen Seth Rollins like that before.
Even Dean Ambrose, when Raw was going off the air, you can tell he almost cracked, but he pulled through. But
yeah, I mean,
very emotional night for everyone.
Really, very, very emotional. Get on in on the conversation on Facebook Live, as always. If you're not listening on the Ram Nation Radio app, our buddy Brian Sendek is always in here supporting our show, watching, so we appreciate it, man. He chimes in and says, people need to learn how to separate the on-screen character from the real-life person. You may hate the character, how he's booked, but he's a great man. He needs the love and support from everyone. Totally agree, like we said before. The man behind the character is always different than the character,
Of course, yeah.
Especially a heel. Just say like Becky Lynch, for example. Obviously, we've met her on a couple of occasions. She's as nice as it gets.
Well, I mean, even Stephanie McMahon, she plays a villain on TV, but you've met her. All the things she does for Connor's Cure, different charities. She's one of the nicest women probably that there is. So, like you said, Brian, I definitely agree with you that you got to separate the character from the real life person.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So. I mean, it's kind of funny and sad at the same exact time, but when Roman comes back, Vince is finally going to get what he wanted, which is...
Well, I was thinking about that, and I, like you said, I hate it. I hate saying this, I don't want it to come off the wrong way, but he will never get booed again.
Yeah.
If he does come back from this, he will never get booed again, no matter what.
That's exactly what I was just getting at. He's going to be the most over babyface on the roster, and it's... Who's going to boo him after what he's going through, I mean, this battle is serious,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy how it works out like that. And now let's talk about Crown Jewel, because with Roman Reigns relinquishing the Universal Championship, now that triple threat match ends up being a one-on-one between Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman, kind of something that they had to do because, obviously those two guys are lined up for a title shot. You can't just take it away from them just because of this happening. So I saw a couple of people say, oh, man, they should have had a tournament at Survivor Series, and that would have been really cool.
Yeah.
But you can't just take this title shot away from these two guys. So it will be Braun Strowman taking on Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Who do you think wins this match, Nick?
I mean, I want to say Braun Strowman, but I just feel like they're gonna put it back on Brock. If not long term, just something just to be until they can figure out what they're gonna do next. Just put it a safe pick, put it on Brock. And maybe give Braun his moment at WrestleMania in New York this year.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. And honestly, a lot of people don't want that to happen. But thinking about it now, isn't it kind of weird that if Braun Strowman wins this, he's only winning it because of what happened to Roman Reigns? It's terrible. He should, this is not the type of payoff that he should be getting. His first Universal title win, his first championship win, big championship win like that, should not come at this cause, So you might as well just give it back to Brock, because, who really cares if it ruins his moment?
I mean, if it was up to me, I would say, kind of like you were saying before, have that, tournament at Survivor Series for the championship. Have Seth Rollins win that belt, and now that him and Dean are going at it, have them feud over that belt for, a couple of months. I'd be so down for that.
Yeah, I know. I totally would too. But, who knows? Honestly, I don't even think WWE knows what they want to do, because this came just totally out of nowhere and just hit them, just like this. And apparently I've read, too, that Roman didn't tell anybody. This news even backstage didn't leak to anybody. Everybody was genuinely shocked when they heard it back in Gorilla backstage. And, everybody stopped what they were doing and were everybody was just stunned. And, you could tell, too, because they released a video of Roman going backstage and hugging everybody. And, like I said, just really, really emotional. And, just a really, really sad turn of events. And I'm telling you, it's just, it always seems to happen to these good guys, you know. Daniel Bryan finally wins the world title. Then he has to go out and relinquish it not too long after that. The whole 2-year plan of trying to get Roman Reigns to be a Universal Champion, he finally gets it, and then 2 months later, this happens. Really, really a big, big shame. But yeah, let's hope he gets through this. And like I said before, our thoughts and our prayers are fully behind Roman Reigns. We stand with you, man. And let's hope to see you back in the ring sooner rather than later. Well, that wasn't the only thing that happened on Raw, Nick.
Nope, it was not. Well, we were saying that we didn't think it was going to happen for a while, but Dean Ambrose has turned on Seth Rollins right after they won the Tag Team Championship.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure where the logic is in that, but...
Yeah, I mean, main event was Ziggler and McIntyre defending against Rollins and Ambrose, and it was kind of a given that Rollins and Ambrose were going to win these belts as a feel-good moment to end Raw, and they did just that. But finally, we got Dean Ambrose turning heel, something that nobody saw coming on this night, and I even am guilty of saying that I didn't think it was going to happen, until 2019, months from now. And I wonder if that was the original plan, and they kind of just turned things up because of this news.
I could definitely see that being, like I said, this is probably the plan all along. But like I said, they were probably in the back there saying, all right, let's just speed this up. Why wait now? Because, now with Roman out of the picture, now you're down to, like we joked about how they're just flip-flopping opponents. They keep wrestling each other. There was, Seth Rollins, then it was, Ziggler, Seth Rollins, McIntyre. Now maybe they said the Roman's not there. We're down to 2. Might as well just turn them and just put them against each other.
Yeah, exactly. So it was at the absolute perfect heel turn. I mean, it really was. The crowd was absolutely stunned when it happened. You could literally hear a pin drop in that place, it seemed like, because everybody got silent and quiet. And then when he jumped over the barricade to walk back up the stairs, you heard some, cursing and stuff because they had to, cover it out. Like, it didn't get bleeped out, but it got, cut off, you could tell. They had to cut that out. And, I mean, as real of a heel turn as you could possibly get. I mean, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. I think it's one of the top heel turns, along with, Seth Rollins' heel turn.
Yeah, turning on him.
Yeah, and I'm really glad, too, because Dean Ambrose deserved that kind. Because, in my opinion, Dean Ambrose always deserved to be a heel.
Yeah, and I think with emotions running high on Monday night, that was perfect. Because people were already upset about Roman. So maybe they're like, all right, now we got, the Shield can make me feel better. And now this happens. It's just... everyone's emotions are running wild that
Poor
night.
Seth Rollins, first in the beginning, his friend gets diagnosed with cancer and he's hysterical there. And he ends the night with another friend stabbing him in the back. Just crazy, terrible night for him. But you know what? He gets that payback now because he was the one that ended the Shield in the first place. So it's kind of a nice storyline, that's been going on for years. I mean, obviously, Rollins, Ambrose, and Reigns always came up together. They'll always be buddies and partners in crime, and they'll be the best rivals, too, on top of that. So
my thing is, though, is like, if the plan still is to have Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania, how are you going to keep the storyline going for 6 months? I mean, especially, too, if, no title. I mean, Seth has the Intercontinental title, so hopefully they can incorporate that into the, feud, but... I don't know how they're going to keep this relevant and going for 6 months. Yeah,
well, I mean, this is what Brian says, too, right here. He says it's sad that the tag titles are being used as a prop. And I totally agree. I mean,
they've been used as a prop this whole storyline, Shield versus,
the Intercontinental title is basically used as a prop. I mean,
the Universal, all 3 of them, the Universal, Intercontinental, and Tag Team titles all were used in this storyline for nothing.
I mean, the Intercontinental title should be used in a different storyline, just say with, Bobby Lashley or with Finn Balor or with Elias. Like what they do in the mid-card is just pitiful because nobody cares about it. But if you put the IC title around, just say Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley or something like that, it would make those segments where, Lashley comes out with Lio Rush or Finn Balor comes out with Bayley, it would make those segments a little bit more watchable,
Yeah.
Like, that to me, like, a mid-card title should be used for that. It shouldn't be used in a main event slot like that from, a guy who's a main eventer, basically. I mean, Seth Rollins is a main eventer. He's not a mid-carder, even though he has been as of late because, not everybody could stay in the main event the whole entire time. But, I mean, these titles are just constantly being used as a prop, and we'll see where they go with the tag titles now, though, because now you got tag team champions that hate each other.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I mean, going back to the IC title, is that Seth Rollins did such a good job of bringing that title from from down here to up here.
Yeah.
So it's like now just diminishing all that work that was done by the Miz, by Seth Rollins to bring that IC title to where it was. And like going back with the tag team titles, who knows what they do, if they're just going to drop them, if they're going to still hold them and lose them. Like I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, who knows? It's definitely intriguing stuff, and I don't want to say this past week's Raw was a really good one because it's hard to say because of what happened with Roman and stuff, and after the Roman stuff, nothing really big happened besides Elias actually turning face too, which was interesting, and then Braun Strowman turning face again, which didn't last. And I'm sure they just turned those two guys face because they knew they were going to turn Ambrose heel, and now without Roman Reigns, they need a lot more faces. So that's what they had to do. So. They had to shake things up on Raw. They really did, and now, unfortunately, Roman Reigns not being there is gonna be such a huge void, and it's gonna make Raw worse than it already was because no matter what people want to say, whether they want to admit it or not, whether they love Roman or they hate Roman, he makes WWE that much better. He does. He just flat out does. The guy's a tremendous worker, and his presence just makes it better.
Yeah, he's got that look to when he shows up, this is like the main event guy right here. It's the top guy.
He's the guy, and you could tell too backstage. He's the locker room leader. Now all these stories are coming out. Aleister Black posted a long story. I don't know if you saw that. Everybody has stories about Roman Reigns, like how he's helped the cruiserweights. Like none of this stuff that we even knew about. So this guy is a true leader, and without him, Raw is going to suffer more than it ever has. So with this tag team title picture now, with Ambrose turning heel, it definitely adds some intrigue. But
they got to build some top guys now.
Yeah.
I think Lashley heel could easily be a top guy if they put him use him the right way. Rollins obviously is a top guy.
Yeah.
Finn Balor needs to be a top guy. They got to start moving some guys from the mid card to the main event. And focus with that. Now that the universal title is open to anyone, they have so many possibilities that they can do with this.
Yeah, they really can. So it'll be interesting. And this is also a reason why they should give the belt to Brock, though, too, is because if you give the title back to Brock, then there's no Universal Champion on Raw. So that's even going to suffer even more without a top guy like Reigns. So, yeah, Raw is definitely going to get interesting. From here on out. So I'm really curious to see where they go with this. But like I said, perfectly executed Dean Ambrose heel turn on Monday. And it was just a perfect way to end the show. It really was because it left you with something to look forward to for next week.
Yeah, definitely. I did not think that we'd be looking forward to anything on Monday Night Raw. And that, with the way it's been lately. So
yeah,
definitely a great ending.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on. What else we got here?
Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel. It's a big saga that seems like a never-ending saga, but we got some kind of update. Not really an update. I'm not sure. Nothing's been officially announced yet, but apparently Crown Jewel is being moved to Albany, New York.
Well, yeah. That's a rumor. I don't want to say apparently it is.
Yeah, I'm not
going to
say nothing's official, but apparently it's being moved because tickets still have not gone on sale for Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. People aren't able to buy tickets yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
They delayed the on sale date for the tickets again, so they're still not selling tickets to it.
So they never originally, because they've known about this for a while now, and this stuff with the journalists didn't happen until like recently, right? So I'm surprised they didn't open up ticket sales earlier.
Yeah, no, I was reading that the ticket sales says tickets have not gone on sale at the proposed venue that Saudi Arabia, that it was going to be at. So who knows? I think that they're milking this too much. I think that they need to just make a decision and just be done with it.
Yeah.
Because right now it just looks weird because everyone knows what's going on with everyone knows what's going on with this event, what's going on in Saudi Arabia. So I think by them just delaying it and not saying anything, it just looks stupid.
Yeah, no, it totally does. And apparently there was going to be a decision made today. Now today's Wednesday, October 24th, and that was when the decision was supposed to be made, but while recording this right now, it's about 6:19 p.m. Eastern Time, and they've yet to announce something. So if you're watching this on YouTube late, and they do announce something when we get off the air, obviously we recorded this beforehand, so we were unaware of that. But as of right now, nothing is announced. And whether they're going to move it or not, at this point, what are they waiting for?
And also, too, how are they going to propose? How are they going to introduce that it's changed? They're just going to have to.
It's going to be weird.
They're going to have to suck it up and say, Of course, they're gonna try and make it sound like they're like the good people about how their views don't align with the cultural views there.
Yeah.
And they're gonna just make themselves look really stupid because they're gonna take it down to the last minute. And
totally, it's gonna be very, very weird. And if it is changed to Albany, what a weird place to change it to.
Very odd.
Like you said, walking in here, we were talking about it. Just random. I mean, Albany, New York. I mean, not like a big market. Like I mean, I know New York's a big market, but that's all the way upstate New York.
That's
even
not
close
really.
to the city.
It's not New York. New York. That's
no. So like, it's weird, like to me. But I mean, who knows what's really gonna happen at this rate? I'm just so sick and tired of like hearing about the same things over and over and over again. It just seems like nothing is happening. We hear all these rumors and these things, and the event is next week. We're not even talking about like an event that's a month away. We're talking about one that's next week.
Next Friday?
Yeah. And, it's supposed to be at 12 noon Eastern time, but obviously if it gets moved to somewhere in the States, it's probably going to be at night, a night event. But let me tell you, if it's in Albany, it's like a 4-hour trip from us. Like, I'm willing to take the trip because the card is absolutely
4 hours
stacked.
to go see DX and Brothers of Destruction. I'll go.
And AJ and Daniel Bryan and the World Cup. No matter how many times they shove it down our throat, it seems pretty cool. It's stacked.
I think too, if it is moved here, why not throw some women's matches on it? They'll probably get one or two on there. And because right now the card's not that. I mean, it's not that big. I mean, I'm assuming that World Cup is going to take up a lot of the undercard of this event.
Yeah.
But like I said, they don't have a lot of matches really announced, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know what they're going to do. And now, too, on top of that, John Cena and Daniel Bryan supposedly refusing to work this event as well. And I haven't really heard an update on Daniel Bryan, but apparently John Cena told them that he's not going to Saudi Arabia. Like, he's done. Like, it will not be there. And it's funny because they still, started, like, advertising, like Daniel... John Cena at the World Cup. They, Kurt Angle had that promo, whatever, about it, and I heard that they're still advertising him because they hope that he changes his mind. I mean, changes his mind, and you know what? Let me just say too, props to Cena and props to Bryan. They are the only ones. All right, not the only ones, but they're two of the people that have the most power.
Yeah, they know where they sit in this company, so they know that they have. And every right to say that, we don't want to go, and they know that they're gonna get, they're gonna get what they want.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. They're not gonna be told no. They're not gonna threaten to fire them.
Nothing's gonna happen, right? That's why they have the leverage, and like I said, good on them for sticking up for themselves and for all these people that are against this Saudi Arabia event because, like I said, nobody else could do that without, being off the hook like they can. So it's going to be very interesting. And you'd think if John Cena goes to them and tells them that he's not doing this event, you would think that they would move it immediately, right?
Yeah, I mean, just think of all the money that they'd be losing, with all the money they've done to promote this event. I'm sure that they've, already got, the stage they need to build, the rings, everything they put into this event to have it not happen at all.
Yeah.
It'd be a huge loss of money.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
And
but
also,
you know
too,
what?
how can you just, all this build for DX versus, Kane and Undertaker, how are you just going to say, it's not going to happen? Like, they have to move it somewhere else and still have this event.
Oh, it's got to happen, yeah. I mean, at this rate, to cancel the event would be even more embarrassing than moving it. But, yeah, I mean, they have to do it. And it wouldn't be embarrassing moving it, but it would be embarrassing how they would have to explain why. But, yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with this. And, if Daniel Bryan doesn't go, there goes your WWE title match. If John Cena doesn't go, well, there's one less participant in the World Cup. So it's just a weird mess. And, you would think at this rate they would just bite the bullet on the money, just move the freaking event, and be on its way. And then once the event comes around in April, things will probably die down by then. Then they can go back to their beloved Saudi Arabia and get more money. Like, they signed on for, 10 years or 5 years of events. So, losing money here, it's not going to hurt them because in the long run, they're going to get the same amount of money. They're just going to lose out on one event.
If, hopefully, just say in a couple of months when they do want to go back, hopefully, these wrestlers, if they do want to put a match with John Cena, maybe they still won't want to go. Maybe they just, flat out say, I don't want to go there anymore. Maybe this could ruin, their deal. But
I mean, if it ruins it, then you know what? That's what they get.
I'm looking right now on WWE's website. When you go to Crown Jewel, they has no time and has no location. It says live at N/A and then the time NA. So right,
that's got to mean something, I guess.
Like I said, they're really backing down from even they're still saying Crown Jewel and they're obviously still promoting it on TV. But
yeah,
like I said, they're very they're crawling around it.
Yeah, they definitely are. And again, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this whole scenario. And like I said, right now they have no, they have no announcement being made. So whether it happens tomorrow or the day after that, I mean, by this weekend, I mean at the latest, they have to announce something.
Well, because you can't have the go home show for Crown Jewel still be talking about this event, and then just like then when Friday comes, hey, welcome live from Albany, New York.
Right. Well,
like,
yeah.
Wait, what? Like,
and you still have to sell tickets and stuff too.
And like we said, Albany is not a big market. Like if it was Barclays Center, okay, I could understand because you have a lot of people, a lot of access to it. Albany, New York is upstate New York. Not a lot. Like you're not gonna get people from the city. A lot of people from the city. Obviously, we're crazy, so we're gonna go. But you're not gonna have people from New Jersey, Connecticut. Those are kind of far places from there. So you're not gonna have that big market like you would have if you had it in New York City.
And you would think that they would announce this too, before Evolution weekend this weekend. So it doesn't overshadow the first ever women's pay-per-view. It's just everything is going on at once and. Like I said, this is what they get. I mean, this is really, truly what they get for doing business with Saudi Arabia like this because, these problems in these countries occur, often like this. And, you just hear nothing but bad things about Saudi Arabia and the fact that they're just going to go there and do this event just because they want more money. It just really goes to show how WWE views things, and it really is a shame.
I think that they're getting involved with too many things. They've got to dial it back.
You're telling me.
Like I said, I wish they'd go back to the way that it used to be. The normal pay-per-view schedule, and just keep it at that. You don't need all these special events because honestly, that's all they are. They're just special side events. Like the Super Showdown, that was nothing special. That was like you could have not watched it and you would not have missed a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really. They're just not important events.
No, absolutely not. But this card is stacked, so I was planning on watching it, whether it's in Saudi Arabia or not. It looks like a stacked event, and it's not on at a crazy time at like 5 a.m. And it does look like it's worth watching because of the World Cup. I want to see how that plays out, and Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. I obviously would not miss that. So we'll see what happens with that. But let's move on. Chris Jericho and Jim Ross starting their own wrestling promotion.
Yeah, that's the rumor that was out a couple this past week. Of course, Jericho shot it down, but of course you'd expect him to. But the information on it is that Jericho and Jim Ross, they want to start their own new wrestling promotion. Apparently, the Young Bucks and Cody are on board. I wouldn't expect anything less from that. JR's contract actually expires soon with WWE, and he's already expressed to them that he's not.
I didn't even know he was under contract.
Yeah, I guess they keep guys like him under contract for remember when he came in and he called a match at
NXT?
Well, yeah,
but he hasn't been seen in quite some time.
Yeah, so he says that he's declined an offer to re-sign. Let's see. JR has been sending, feelers to select, WWE superstars. Jericho's doing it with the New Japan guys, kind of like, look, if you want out, there might be another option. Kind of just, testing the waters of seeing, who's in and who's out and who would, be interested in doing it. So, it's pretty financed by, gonna probably butcher this name, Shahid Khan or Kahan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what were you saying about Cody and on being the Elite?
Well, if you follow Being the Elite, Cody, Young Bucks on Twitter and stuff, Cody's been tweeting a lot about the Jaguars. He's a Jaguar fan for at least this year. He says he thinks it's going to be the year. There was a picture floating around of him with Frankie Kazarian with their cigars, and he was wearing a Jacksonville Jaguars tank top. And on Being the Elite, I don't know, I forget if it was the newest episode or the previous one, you see Nick Jackson wearing a Jacksonville Jaguars shirt. Now, I mean, I don't even think they are big football fans to begin with. So,
and none of them live in Jacksonville, Florida, or Florida in general. Cody lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and the Bucks live in California.
Yeah, so why would they randomly pick the Jacksonville Jaguars? And then this news comes out, and they've been teasing that they're all going to stick together. And I don't think they would go to the WWE right now because, especially Cody, he talks about all the time how he left on his terms. He's doing things his way. Why would he leave 2 years, 2 years ago and then come back 2 years later? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So it's just, it doesn't seem like the right time. So this would make sense. And they constantly tease on Being the Elite that their contracts are up and they don't know what decision they're going to make. Once January 1st hits, they don't know what they're going to do. Listen, folks, they know what they're going to do, okay? Yeah. And it has to do with this. But do you have on there when the starting date of this promotion is going to be? Because I read it might not get started until late 2019, early 2020. And if that's the case, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I got right here. It says that the timeline to go live right now is 12 to 16 months, which would be late 2019, early 2020. Which my theory could be they just sign 1-year deals with Ring of Honor and New Japan to sign back on for 1 more year, and then by that time it will be the end of 2019 or early 2020, and they could even just take a break. Just say they have 3 months in between their contracts ending and the new company starting. Take 3 months off. I mean, these guys are set right now with all the money they've made through everything they've done. So I think they can all afford, and they would probably enjoy 3 months off. But also too that there's talks in the way with Access TV, the secure TV deal, which I think is a good network for them. You have Mark Cuban is a lot invested in Access TV. He's been pushing for New Japan to be on there. So
New Japan's on Access TV.
Well,
right
that's
now.
what he's the one that pushes for it to be on there and put more content on there. So hopefully, he hops on board with him because he's a good businessman.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, really, really, just surprising news and something that I would totally love. I mean, I would be so on board with this. This would be awesome to see another wrestling promotion. Just another place for everybody to work, and that promotion would be red hot.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
of course.
Especially if you have Cody and the Young Bucks as the big stars on there. Hangman Page also too, he's included with that, and
especially if you got some guys coming from WWE and New Japan. I mean, I think that this would, like you said, it'd be a red hot promotion. They could literally sell out, probably a semi-small, arena for their first show.
I mean, Chris Jericho and Jim Ross are up to date with what we want to see nowadays on a wrestling show too. Like they know exactly what we want to see, and that would be just so cool to see. And Cody also teasing too that he's transitioning into a new role in pro wrestling, and he could also help backstage too, being a promoter. Because I think whatever happened with All In, like how he was backstage and really doing it, I think he learned a lot from that experience, and I think he really liked doing that. So imagine him doing it with Chris Jericho and Jim Ross. That would just be so cool.
I just think it's funny how the timeline for Chris Jericho is gone, where when he first started testing the waters in the independents, it's, I'm only going to do New Japan because I don't want to offend Vince. Then he shows up at, All In, and now he's like, you know what, screw you, Vince, I'm starting my own company.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It really is.
When he gets bit by that independent wrestling bug, it's just
I mean, it's red hot right now. It's the best it's ever been. So why not start this new promotion? And it gives Cody and the Young Bucks something to do other than the same thing they've been doing in Ring of Honor, the same thing they've been doing in New Japan. Because let's be honest, they've done everything that they could possibly do in New Japan by now, and Ring of Honor.
They've wrestled every tag team. I don't think there's a tag team under contract with Ring of Honor or New Japan they have not faced.
No, I don't think so either. Like I said, the Young Bucks have literally won the heavyweight tag titles in Japan, the junior titles numerous times. They've won constant Ring of Honor tag team championships.
6-man tag titles.
Cody was the world champion. Now he's the U.S. champion. He'll never be the IWGP heavyweight champ, but who cares?
I think the U.S. is a pretty good title to hold for a foreigner. So
yeah, exactly. Brian goes, maybe they'll go to Impact. I mean, why not, right? I mean, hey, yeah. I mean, with Don Callis running the show, who knows?
We're gonna have Max and Jeremy Buck running around.
Yeah, their triumphant return. But I mean, I don't know. Like, no matter how good Impact has been, I just feel like it's a step down for them. I just really do. If they went to Impact, who knows? But never say never. But it just to me, I just can't see that happening. But I'm really, really excited if that does happen, and it does add some intrigue. Because again, if they do, wait like you said till 2019, late 2019, early 2020, and then who knows? Do they sign a 1-year deal with the promotion? Do they sign a 2-year deal? Do they sign long term? Because I think that will really dictate their future. If they sign long term with that Chris Jericho promotion, they're not going to WWE ever. Mm-hmm. Like at that rate, they'll be like old enough where they're going to probably hang it up, because you could already tell they're getting tired of this travel schedule. It's very heavy on them. They want to spend as much time as they can with their families. Maybe this new promotion gives that to them, and they never end up going to WWE because of it.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, because like I said, we don't even know what this promotion is going to be. So maybe it's not going to be, a very heavy travel, promotion. Maybe they'll do, tapings and tape episodes in advance. We don't know any of the information about it, so we have to wait and see when more information does come out. If it does come out, like I said, right now this is still all a rumor, but
right, it's a rumor, but you know what? A rumor comes from somewhere. Like just like this Albany news, like nobody just makes this stuff up. Like why would somebody go on there and say Chris Jericho and just Jim Ross, as random as it can get, are starting a wrestling promotion together? Like, and then obviously they're wearing the Jacksonville Jaguars thing. Like, it just all makes sense if you think about it too. So why somebody would just make this up is beyond me. So, like, I am buying into it already, and I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but I am seriously buying into it. And, man, I will support that promotion no matter how much it costs. If there's a network for it, if it's $20 a month, if it's, I will pay whatever it is because that will totally be worth it to me. But very, very exciting news. And, hey, let's hope it happens, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, so got a lot of other stuff to get into, too. So we got over the big stuff. Let's talk about what happened last week. News breaking that WWE has officially signed new recruits to the WWE Performance Center. And most of them we knew of already. But one that was a really big shock to me was Chelsea Green, who finally gets signed by the WWE. I know she's been trying for so long. She's really worked her butt off to get to this point. I mean, her work and Impact and all over the indies and at All In she shined, and she has just been red hot. One of the best independent wrestlers out there gets signed finally, and it was so cool to see her in the Performance Center shirt alongside Mia Yim, who also gets signed after her performance in the Mae Young Classic. Just hats off to her too, a tremendous worker herself, who I think is very, very underrated because she doesn't get talked about a lot. Matt Riddle, obviously, we all know about him. To me, he's a future star. And Punishment Martinez from Ring of Honor, as we mentioned last week on the show, too. So really, really big talents headed to WWE.
Yeah, like I said, they just keep on stacking and stacking and stacking. But I think that Chelsea Green and Mia Yim are great signings for the women's division in NXT. Because the males, talent, they're stacked. They're good on that. But I think that, over time, like, when the top, female talent NXT is left, you kind of feel that void area. So, but, I think right now that they're pretty set with Bianca Belair, probably getting that title eventually, and then one of them coming in, and I think that NXT is set right now for the woman.
Oh, yeah, me too. I mean, this is something that Triple H had to do because, Shayna Baszler will probably be moving on to the main roster soon, so you got Kairi Sane there, you got, Bianca Belair, and you have, like, these, like, other women like Lacey Evans and, Dakota Kai's and stuff like that, but, I don't think they're ready to jump into, like, the main event title picture yet. They're kind of like what the Iconics were, I feel like, just, like, there, but, like, obviously they're more talented than them, but, like, they were just there and, like, not really have any direction of what they're going to do. So the signings of Mia Yim and Chelsea Green definitely adds a lot more depth to the NXT women's division, and it's really, really cool to see. I mean, let me tell you, I think both of those two women could be big-time stars in the future on the main roster, too.
Definitely.
I mean,
Mia Yim just has that look to her with, the hair when she comes out with, the bandana on. Like, you could tell when someone has that look. And they just have a great character, and, I think that she has that perfect character.
And Chelsea Green does, too. I mean, she has the hot mess.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea Green can just, make up characters on the fly, and they work. Yeah. A hot mess. Chelsea Green, she just debuted Lucha Underground Black Widow. I mean, that's a great character. She can... And I think that if she wants to keep that role of playing multiple characters on the main roster, it could work. I mean, almost like the three faces of Foley. I mean, she has her alternate egos. I think that could be a cool Well,
she definitely has it.
Cool way for her.
It was very, very cool, and of course she's dating Zack Ryder too. So that definitely it adds to her stock a little bit as well. So really, really cool to see her get signed finally, and just seeing the photo really excited me because you watch these guys and girls on the independents, and then you see them finally get to make it to the WWE and the big stage, and now they're getting introduced to a whole new audience, and a whole new audience is getting introduced to them, and it's funny coming from like people like us who have been watching them for so long. I mean, I remember watching Mia Yim debut in TNA a couple of years ago as Jade with Marty Bell back then, and then Chelsea Green. I mean, I've been following her ever since her Tough Enough stint and going to Impact, and it's crazy that they're all finally there, and Matt Riddle, a guy who we never thought would be there either, and Punishment Martinez, which was a big shock because we thought he had so much more left to offer. So really, really interesting signings, and I'm really happy to see that they finally got signed there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things about watching independent wrestling is that when all these guys and girls sign on to WWE, people are, like you said, just finding out about them and like, wow, this Keith Lee guy, he's really got it. And we're like, yeah, we've known that. We've been watching Keith Lee. We've been watching Matt Riddle for all these, for this long. Probably the biggest one was AJ Styles. God, how long did we watch AJ Styles in TNA? had a whole career's worth of stuff before he even went to WWE that people missed out on.
My favorite thing is, like, when people don't pay attention to independent wrestling, they could care less about, Chelsea Green in a big title match at All In, right? They just don't care. They don't watch All In. And then right as soon as they sign that WWE contract, it's like, oh my God, like, oh, finally, yes, oh, such a big star, like, oh, I'm such a big fan. Like, it's funny to me. It's comical. But, yeah, congrats to all of them. Looking forward to seeing them debut. The problem is NXT has their tapings and only scattered takeover events. So who knows when we'll see Chelsea Green on television. I know Mia Yim debuted already. She's going to be debuting tonight on TV. They taped that last week. Matt Riddle debuts as well. But Chelsea Green will probably be a little bit until at least the next set of tapings. So probably won't see her anytime soon. But just knowing that she's there is pretty damn cool. And she'll be on the live event starting this week as well. So very, very cool stuff to see. What else we got here?
We got 205 Live had its 100th episode.
Yeah, let's talk about 205 Live for a little bit.
I think 205 Live is a show that a lot of people don't give a chance, and I mean I'm guilty of it too. I really don't watch a lot of it. I'll tune in if I hear a match is good. I'll go back and watch it. But they do have some of the best wrestling. If you're into like the lucha style, the cruiserweight style. The matches are insane. Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali. I mean, these guys are incredible.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali, congrats to them. They were awarded the match of the year in 205 Live from July 3rd of this past summer. It was a no DQ match, I believe. I mean, that was a phenomenal match. I remember I watched that after the fact because I heard such great things about it. And I mean, they really continue to set the bar on 205 Live, and unfortunately now it got moved to Wednesday. But I think it's a good thing that it got moved to Wednesday because nobody wanted to watch it after SmackDown Live anyways. It still gets taped in the arena after SmackDown, but now it airs on Wednesdays, so it'll be on tonight at 7 o'clock, right after we get off the air here on Ram Nation Radio. 205 Live will be on the air. Mike Bennett now, Maria Kanellis. There on 205 Live.
I think that's a great move for Mike Bennett,
yeah.
Or Mike Kanellis, whatever you want to call him, and Maria, because I think that he's really going to shine on 205 Live.
Yeah, he wasn't doing anything anyways. I mean, so why not? It's something new for him, and it did wonders for a guy like Buddy Murphy, right? Look at him now; he's the top star on 205 Live. So you never know what can happen if Mike Bennett really shines on this show. But yeah, 100 episodes they're celebrating tonight, and it's truly a milestone because this show started around this time last year. And, it'll be a year that the show is on the air.
Probably a little bit longer than that.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it was around this time, I feel like. And, hats off to them. And I don't watch every single week. I know you probably don't either. Not a lot of people do.
Like I said, I tune in when there's a match I hear is really good.
Me too.
Which, I mean, honestly, like I said, if you watch 205 Live every week, good for you. They probably, really enjoy it. But just, like I said, there's too much stuff to watch sometimes.
Yeah, I mean... that's plain and simple. There's just too much. And but hats off to all the cruiserweights there. They worked their ass off, and the show has gone farther than I thought it would, to be quite honest with you. I really didn't think the show was going to last. I thought, they had to move it out of arenas over to Full Sail in order for it to be successful. It's still successful as it's still going. So good for them. And they got a lot of great talent there that deserve a ton more, obviously. But, it's a good show. It's one of the most exciting weeks. Programs on WWE television every week. And, like you said, though, on Wednesdays it's just tough. I mean, look at the Wednesday schedule now for WWE. You had the NXT UK that was this afternoon at 3 o'clock. You have 205 Live at 7. You have NXT at 8. Now you got the Mae Young Classic at 9 o'clock. It's a lot of programming in one day.
Definitely a lot of stuff to watch. Like you said, you got to pick and choose what you want to,
Yeah.
See, I mean, that's the beauty of the network is that, you can watch none of it and still see all of it the next day. So, you can split it up and watch what you want to watch. But wanted to mention, speaking of 205 Live, it announced today that Mustafa Ali will be doing some Evolve shows coming up. None around here, unfortunately. But if you're listening to us and you live in Michigan or Illinois, November 9th, Mustafa Ali versus DJ Z at Evolve 115. And November 10th at Evolve 116, Mustafa Ali versus Darby Allin.
It's going to be really good.
Those are going to be two really good matches. So... if you listen to us and you live close to there, definitely recommend it. Evolve is always a great show. They put on, it's a very good company, good matches, good wrestlers. So
and a chance to see Mustafa Ali like that in a match against two very, very underrated guys like Darby Allin and DJ Z. I mean, God, I wish I could go to those shows to see that. Even though we are getting Cash Sono, who's returning to Evolve when the Evolve events come to New York. It seems like a lot of stars now coming in and out of Evolve, which is pretty cool. They have that relationship with WWE, NXT, so they're constantly sending their stars. And also read the Street Profits are also going to be in Evolve. So very, very cool stuff. The relationships that these companies have, it's just really cool to see because you want the wrestling business to thrive all together. So
it's definitely cool seeing these guys. Like, we went to Evolve like about a month and a half ago and saw the Velveteen Dream, and it's cool seeing guys like that who we've seen wrestle at Barclays Center, and now we're seeing him wrestle up close at some club in Queens. So it's definitely
exactly.
That's the best part of beauty of independent wrestling is that you can get close, and it's a much more intimate feeling.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. So yeah, I mean it's gonna be good stuff, and congrats, like I said, to 205 Live for like I said, 100 episodes. It's quite an accomplishment for them. All right, well, we got 15 minutes left here on the show, and we got to end with preview and predictions of this Sunday's Evolution pay-per-view emanating from the Nassau Coliseum here on Long Island, which is where we're from and where we film the show. Going to be, I don't even know how to describe this pay-per-view. Hopefully it's a good show, but we will be in attendance for it, so we're just excited to go to an event again.
Yeah, I think, you can't be too hard on this show because, yes, obviously they've had time to really make it really good, and feels like that they're being very lazy with it. But I don't know, like I said, you can't just got to enjoy the show for what it is. There are some decent matches on it, and like I said, you just got to go and just enjoy yourself. You can't be too hard on it.
Yeah, it really is a shame what they could have built with this card. The card apparently got leaked about a month ago, I would say, and heck, I would take that card in a heartbeat. If anybody saw it online, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'd take that card in a heartbeat over what we're getting right now. A lot of people bashed it at the time, but
yeah, which I don't know. Do you see them announcing any matches this week, or do you think this is it? Because
what could they
right now
announce?
This card is not that big. What is it, like 6-7 matches? Then they have 4 hours.
I think it's 7 matches. Yeah, because. I have on the match card that I'm looking at right now, I have Rhea Ripley defending the NXT UK Women's Championship.
Against Isla Dawn, yeah.
Apparently that happened on the taping, though. When they taped NXT UK this past weekend or the weekend before this one, apparently that happened at the taping. So there was a false report that it was happening at Evolution because obviously today's NXT UK was the last, show before Evolution. Mm-hmm. Now, if she was defending the title, wouldn't that match of her winning the belt and the announcement happened today on NXT UK, and it didn't?
Yeah, so you can scratch that one off.
Yeah, definitely scratch it. It just wouldn't make sense. How are you going to advertise that when nobody even knows who the NXT UK Women's Champion is?
Yeah, it's 6 matches and 1 battle royal.
Right.
So, unless they're going to milk it with, backstage segments and... Which, they shouldn't have to milk anything. They have 4 hours dedicated to all women. They don't have to, have any, men's matches. So it's I don't see what the problem is on, why they couldn't have done a better job at, building this card and making it, a little bit better. But
beats me. That's the writing team for you. They're lazy. They're not creative, even though they're called the creative team. But this is what we got to get. I guess by now we have to learn that the WWE will only stack a show if you're giving them a ton of money to run it. Mm-hmm. Exhibit A, Australia. Exhibit A, Saudi Arabia. So other than that, they don't care, apparently. But
let's start with our predictions then.
Yeah, let's get right into the card here.
We'll go with the match that I could see opening the show, because you need a hot opener. I'd say Becky Lynch and Charlotte is going to open the show. I think that's going to, be a hot match that would really get people going and start the pay-per-view off on the right foot. And my pick, I'm sticking with Becky Lynch holding this title. I just cannot see them playing flip-flop in this storyline. Mm-hmm. I think Becky Lynch is a great heel. They're doing the best heel she can, even though she gets cheered. But I think that she's got too much heat going into this to lose that title.
Yeah, honestly, I want to say Becky's going to hold on to it. I really do. There's multiple reports, though, out there that says Becky's injured. And unfortunately, if she's injured, who knows how bad it is, and I hope it's not bad. If, she's good to go and whatever, it's something she could fight through, which apparently she has been fighting through it. I say let her retain. But a part of me says that Charlotte is going to win this match and win back the championship. And I'm sure the feud will still continue until the end of the year because I think this feud's going to go, towards the end of the year. And I think in order for it to continue, you have to have Charlotte win it back and then maybe have Becky win it back. But I hate to say it. I really do. And nothing against Charlotte. I love her. I think she's a great performer, one of the best, if not the best, in the company right now. But Becky Lynch is doing such great things right now with this belt. You saw the brawl at the Performance Center, which we didn't mention, but that was shown on SmackDown. Really cool stuff there. This feud is one of the best that they have going right now. Becky should retain, but my money's on Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean Charlotte by the end of her career is gonna be like a 18-time champion.
Yeah, she'll beat Ric Flair.
Yeah,
Her
she's
dad.
gonna beat her. But all right, we'll go to the next match. Go to the NXT Women's match. Got Kairi Sane defending the belt against Shayna Baszler. Like you said, I think Shayna Baszler is going to the main roster soon, so I do not see her winning this belt. I see an interference or something like that, or someone helping Kairi Sane and then turning on her, maybe Bianca Belair coming out and distracting Shayna Baszler to help Kairi, because Kairi already got one pinfall over Shayna Baszler, which was a shock to me. I can't see her getting another clean victory over Shayna Baszler, so I think that something's going to happen and she'll get maybe a roll-up victory or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think definitely if she does get a clean victory, it'll be similar to the way she won the title, which is by the roll-up. I mean, it wasn't even a roll-up. It was very weird how she pinned her for her NXT Championship win. But, yeah, I mean, it would make no sense to give this belt back to Shayna Baszler. She's going to the main roster. I do believe we could potentially see the 4 horsewomen, minus Ronda Rousey. Obviously, I don't think she's going to be a part of this. But I do think Marina Sheriff and Jessamine Duke or whatever, however you pronounce their names. I have no idea. I do think we're going to see them debut in some way here.
Well, if you noticed during the brawl between Becky and Charlotte, you saw them three. They were hanging out in the Performance Center. So they are training. So
I think their presence will be felt here. Maybe Kairi wins and they beat Kairi down after the match. But, yeah, I do think Kairi Sane, it's a given that she's going to hold on to this belt. Like I said, Shayna Baszler is destined for the main roster. Had her run with the belt already. There's just no sense in, especially with now where they signed Mia Yim, Chelsea Green. I mean, they have women down there. They don't need Shayna Baszler. Bye-bye. Go to the main roster. Kairi Sane, I think, retains the belt as well.
Next match, which is a very disappointing match. Probably going to be a lot of people's bathroom break. Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya versus the Riot Squad. A match we've seen on Raw before. That's it has no place being on this card.
Yeah, I mean, it's a match we've seen on Raw for the past, 3 months.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I mean,
just
ever since
very
the Riot Squad
uncreative.
debuted on Raw, I feel like it's just the same thing. And it sucks for Sasha and Bayley, 2 women who really, I guess you could say, started this revolution with their amazing match at NXT
a huge
TakeOver.
part of this woman's evolution that
Yeah.
was started. Now on the show called Evolution, they're throwing in this crappy 6-woman tag match. I mean,
It's lazy. It's just lazy.
I think that obviously Sasha, Bayley, and Natalya are gonna win, because why not put the baby faces over in an event like this? Go to the Battle Royal. It's a very, very open field of people that could possibly win. Who do you see picking up the win and getting the future title shot?
I honestly have no idea because, they said a future women's title shot. That could be Raw, that could be SmackDown. So,
I think it's going to be a SmackDown person, only because there's so many SmackDown women in this match. I think the only Raw women are Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, and Tamina. I'm probably forgetting 1 or 2, but there's not that many women from Raw in this match.
I would have to look at the graphic again because I don't even know, but I know there's a lot of Hall of Famers in this. But wouldn't it make sense too to have this challenger be Rousey's next challenger too? Because I feel like if Becky and Charlotte are fighting over the SmackDown Women's title for the rest of the year, wouldn't it make more sense to line up Rousey's next opponent?
Yeah, or they could pull a switch, have a SmackDown woman win, and be like, no, I want Rousey, switch over to Raw. But I had a weird feeling when I was watching the brawl on SmackDown and then looking at the card. I got a weird feeling that Zelina Vega might have some kind of inkling to win this, only because I feel like that her time is coming eventually. She's proved that she can wrestle when she had those matches against Lana. So I don't know why I had a weird feeling Zelina Vega might pick up the win in this, but
I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a Raw star. I think it's either gonna be Nia Jax or Ember Moon. And I think Ember Moon has the slight edge over Nia because we've seen Nia and Rousey already. I think we got Ember Moon winning this. I think it's going to be somebody who you don't see it coming. Like at WrestleMania, the opening women's battle royal in the pre-show, Naomi winning that. Very forgettable, but very random at the same time. So I feel like somebody random like that is going to win. So let's go Ember Moon.
And I'm not going to talk about the Mae Young Classic Finals because if anybody watching doesn't want spoilers and is still going strong without if you've gone this long without seeing a spoiler, good
Congrats,
for you.
Yeah, you'll find out tonight.
Yeah, tonight there will be the final 2 semifinal matches between Toni Storm and
Mako?
And the Chinese woman.
Yeah, well, Io Shirai will face Rhea Ripley, I believe.
Versus Rhea Ripley, and then Toni Storm versus that
Miko
Maiko.
Satomaro.
Yeah, so you'll find out the finals tonight. So can't really talk about that, but I think everyone will have their predictions after that. Mickie James and Alexa Bliss are going up against Trish Stratus and Lita. I think the clear favorite to win this is Trish Stratus and Lita, only because for the nostalgia factor.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that they're going to be on WWE television too throughout the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, they signed on for that apparently. So yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked if Alexa and Mickie pick up a win. If they do, maybe it's by cheating or some roll-up, some move like that. I don't think they beat the Hall of Famers clean. But yeah, I think, like you said, the nostalgic moment, Trish and Lita coming back, seeing them in there again, I think they get the win, and I think they pin Mickie James because Alexa Bliss obviously has more to offer nowadays than Mickie James does, so a loss won't hurt her.
And just like that, we're already at the main event. Ronda Rousey going up against Nikki Bella. I think it's a very obvious match right here. Ronda's winning this match.
Yeah, no doubt.
As much as people want to, back Nikki Bella, she has a huge. Obviously, I think it's going to be a good atmosphere because obviously the Bellas have a huge following. Ronda has a huge following in her own right. So I think it's going to be a good, clash of two fan bases going at it.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. And Ryan Hunter comes into the Facebook stream here. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. He says, yeah, good. She'll probably body slam her into oblivion. Yeah, probably.
She's going to rip her arm off, too, while she's at it.
She'll definitely kill Nikki Bella. And I pray to God that Nikki Bella's neck doesn't get hurt here because it's something that's very, very
I wasn't even
dangerous.
Thinking about that.
Yeah, so she's got to make sure her and Ronda work as safe as they could possibly work. But yeah, like you said, I think the atmosphere is going to be really good for this one. I think it's, like you said, there's going to be a lot of people cheering for Nikki Bella and a lot of people cheering against Nikki Bella. And it's going to be a red-hot main event, and I hope they deliver a good match. I know it's not the main event people want to see, but we know for reasons like, the publicity and how big of a mainstream stars that these are, we know that's why that match is happening.
Yeah, because you think this is going to be a huge episode of Total Divas or Total Bellas next month. So you're going to see all this. So that's why they do it. But, like I said, it could be a good match because obviously Nikki Bella is the better of the two Bellas in wrestling. So I think she'll be able to match up against Ronda good, and I think this is going to be a good main event.
Yeah, well, Nikki's a veteran, so there's no reason why she wouldn't be able to handle the spotlight, and I think that's why they're throwing her in there as opposed to somebody else. But that's it. That's the Evolution card happening this Sunday on the WWE Network and at the Nassau Coliseum here on Long Island. If you're going to the event, we were going to be forming a tailgate on the Sunday, earlier on in the day before the pay-per-view begins. Make sure to follow us on social media, whether it's on Twitter, on Instagram, at the Wrestle Radar. Subscribe to us on YouTube because we will have a vlog out for Evolution because it's going to be a really fun weekend and a really fun day. Like I said, we'll just be hanging out. We'll have some tents. I know the weather's not supposed to be good this weekend. We'll be some grilling some burgers and hot dogs, having some beers and chips, and we're just going to chill out and have a fun time. And before the event, which the tailgate might be funner than the event. So come on out if you're in the area and you're coming to it. It's going to be a really fun time. But that's all we got on this week's edition of the Wrestling Radar here on Ram Nation Radio. Thank you for everybody tuning in on Facebook Live and for downloading the Ram Nation Radio app. We really, really appreciate it. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We'll be back next week. This is our new time slot, 6 to 7 p.m. here on Ram Nation Radio every Wednesday. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the weekend of Evolution.